That's my dad's like, make sure you go. He worked so hard. He walked out the porch yesterday to test out the gun.
This is negative 29. This one is 8. This is over when the bell goes off. If you're not at the table before the bell, it will not count. Answer on this one is 69. On this problem, you should have a negative y equals negative 4x plus 12. Divide everything by negative 1. To get y equals 4x minus, that should be a minus 12. The slope is 4. It is not 4 over 1. It is not negative 4 over 1. Look at the card in the back of the room. Nothing over 1, second 1, 6 over 1 with a line through it. Number 2. Answer for this one is a negative 5 over 2. Here it is. You should have 6y equals negative 3x minus 12. Divide everything by 6. You should have y equals a negative half because you have to reduce it. Negative half x minus 2, so the slope is a negative half. For the homework check, before you come up here, you must have the notebook paper with all of the equations worked out, as well as the 2 separate graph papers. We have 12 out of 18, which is 67% when you round it. If you have credit for your homework, bring up a number from 1 to 20, and I'll pick 5 of them. All right, the winning numbers are 3, 7, 9, 14, and 18. Here's a fast multiple choice before we do the answers. I need the block letter only. What is the run of this slope? All right, for this problem, you should start off with 8y equals a negative 2x plus 24 and divide everything by 8. When you do that, you have y equals a negative 1/4 when you reduce, and then plus 3. This is the slope. The run is on the bottom. C would be the right choice. Homework answers. We're going to check the equations first. Remember, the equations are a half point each. Number 1 should be y equals 2x minus 3. 2 is y equals 2x plus 4. 3 is y equals a negative 5/3 x plus 3. 4 is y equals a negative 1/6 x plus 3. And 5 is y equals x minus 3. For number 6, y equals 4x plus 12. 7 is y equals a half x minus 1. 8 is y equals a negative 3x minus 2. 9 is y equals 5/3 x plus 4. And 10 is y equals x plus 2. For your graphs, I have them all on 1 with them clearly numbered on either end of the line. So take a moment to check over your lines and see how they match up with the ones I have. Here's a quick review. Just say the answer out loud. 12 over 8. You must reduce that.
3 over 4. 3 over 4. 1.5.
Leave it as an improper fraction if necessary.
3 over 3. 1.5.
3 over 2, yes. 4 goes into this one 3 times and into this one twice. 16 over 10.
8 over 5.
8 over 5, and you cannot use the calculator for these. No calculator for reducing these. 12 over 20. 6 over 10, but that's not completely reduced. 3 over 5 is right. 5 over 25.
1 over 5.
1 over 5. 4 over 3 is the right answer. 8 goes into both of these. This one 4 times and this one 3 times. 16 over 48. 1 over 3 is right. What number goes into both? 16. 64 over 48.
4 over 3.
4 over 3 is right. What number goes into both?
16.
16. 19 over 57. 1 over 3. What number goes into both? What number goes into both? 19. 45 over 60. 3 over 4 is right. What number goes into both?
15.
15, yeah. 40 over 24. 5
Over 3.
over 3, yes. What number goes into both? 8 is right. Everybody pick a number from 1 to 10. The winning number for this lottery is 6. You're still going to stick with slope-intercept form and standard form of equations, except today you must transfer from this form, which is slope-intercept, to this form, which is standard form. AX plus BY equals C. You must go from this to this. I'm going to show you. Alright, for this problem, here's the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. You must change it to standard form. So your first step is to move the negative 2x to the left side of the equal sign and put it in front of the y, but you change the sign. And once you do that, you have 3 things you must check. 1, the A term may not be negative. Is it negative? The A term is what would show up in the form of AX plus BY equals C. So A would be what? A is 2. What's B? 1. And what's C? Negative 3, right. So when I say the A term, we're talking about this item out here. It cannot be negative. So is it negative in this problem? No. The second thing you have to check, are there any fractions? Do we have any fractions?
No.
No. Fractions are not allowed in standard form. Alright, so the A term is not negative, and there are no fractions in here. Okay. Did I say there are 3 things you have to check?
Yep.
I think there's just 2. If you don't have, actually the third one is simple. X and Y are on the left. So is that satisfied in this one? Yes, they're both on the left. So if all of these are satisfied, then you're finished. This is your answer. 2x plus y equals a negative 3.
So we don't have to write down 8.
Example number 2. You must move the x term from the left and put, or not from the left, but from the right and put it over to the left. Change the sign. It's not allowed to be negative. So if you have a negative a term in there, then you must change the sign of everything in the equation. And you do so by multiplying everything by negative 1. Or just change the sign. So you would have 4x minus y equals a negative 5. So do we have any fractions in here? No. Is the a term positive? X and y are on the left? That's it. That's your answer. On the practice problem, move this to the left side and make it positive. Once you do that, you check to see that this is positive, there are no fractions, and x and y are on the same side, so you have standard form. Answer for this one is 3x equals 8 plus 1. You do the opposite on the right, so 3 times 3 would be 9. To the first 7 people. For this problem, it's negative 2x equals negative 5 plus 1. So that would give you a negative 4, which you would divide by the negative 2 to get an answer of 2. Pick a number from 1 to 10. The winning number on this one is 10. Try this one. On the practice problem, you move this term to the left side in front of the y and make it positive. So you have 5x plus y equals negative 1. Do we have a negative a term? No. Are there any fractions? Are x and y on the left? Yes, they are. So the answer is 5x plus y equals negative 1.
Shut up, Allie.
Every time she gets up there.
The first 7. You should have negative 6x equals negative 8 minus 4, which is a negative 12, and divide to get a positive 2. So here's example 3. This one has a fraction in it. But you still do the same thing. What do I do with this x term? Move it to the left, and what happens to it? It becomes negative. Now remember the things you have to go through. Is that a term, in other words, the very first term, is that positive or negative? It's negative, so we have to do what to everything? Change the sign, right. So this becomes positive 2/3 x minus y equals a negative 2. And that is because once we move this to this side, we end up having a negative in this spot. You cannot have that. So once you have that, you have to change the sign of everything. Had this been positive here, you wouldn't have to change everything. But one of our other rules is what? No fractions. So if you end up with a fraction anywhere in here, then what you have to do is multiply the entire fraction, or the equation I should say, by the denominator. If you multiply it by the denominator, that cancels out with the denominator and just leaves you with what? 2. So you have 2x, but what you do to this term, you must do to this one and this one. So you multiply the minus y by 3 and the minus 6 by 3. So that one has an a term that's positive, there are no fractions, and x and y are both on the left. Are there any questions about this one? Here's example 4. What must I do first? Move that x term to the left side and do what to it? Change the sign so it becomes positive 5/4x and keep everything else the same. Do we have a negative number in this spot? No, so we do not have to change the sign of everything. We just leave it as it is, but we now have to do what? Got to get rid of that fraction. So what do I multiply the whole equation by?
4.
4 is right because that's the denominator there. So when we cancel out there and there, we have a 5 left, so it's 5x, but I have to multiply 4 by this and by this. So I would have plus 4y equals 8. This is y equals 1/5 x plus 3. What do I do first?
Take the fraction of 3.
Yeah, move this x term to the left side and change the sign. So what does it become? Negative 1/5 x. And then plus y equals 3. This is a negative out here on the front. We're not allowed to have that. So we have to do what? Change the sign of everything all the way through. So you would have a positive 1/5 x minus, and I wrote my minus sign a little bit high, and that's going to bug me, so I'll wipe it out. Minus y equals a negative 3. But we still have one thing left to do, and what is that? Get rid of the fraction. What do I do to get rid of it? Multiply it by the 5 that's on the bottom. Cancel those out. What am I left with? 1. Do I write 1? Just x, right. We don't write 1x because that's on the card in the back, fourth one from the door. But I have to multiply this by 5 and this by 5. So I have minus 5y, and then it equals a negative 15. I have to move this x term to the left. So it becomes a negative 1/3 x plus y equals 1. I have a negative sign here. I'm not allowed to have that. So I have to change that to positive, as well as change this sign and this one. I'm not allowed to have a fraction either. So I must multiply everything by what? 3. So that cancels with this and leaves me with an x. 3 times minus y. 3 times a negative 1. This is your answer. To the first 7. Alright, for this bonus problem, it's negative x equals negative 2 minus 8. So that's a negative 10, and you have to switch the signs to get positive 10. I have no paper copy, so you must copy it down.